It's news time. The marathon is now being continued by the ICTV and STB teams. My name is Anastasia Mazur. Welcome. In November, our air forces destroyed more than 9,700 different enemy targets. Among them were 11 Kinjal missiles, 51 Kh-101 cruise missiles, 20 Caliber missiles, 15 North Korean Iskanders, 19 Russian ones, and nearly 3,000 Shaheds. That same night, the Russians launched 89 attack drones at Ukraine. Our air forces shot down 63 of them. At 9 locations, strikes from 26 attack UAVs were recorded. 4 people were killed and another 40 were injured. In the morning, the Russians attacked Dnipro with ballistic missiles. The enemy hit a residential district. The blast wave damaged several apartment buildings, a car service station, and a business. Fires broke out at the scene. Rescuers quickly brought them under control. Tomorrow will be a day of mourning in Dnipro.
A Russian missile killed 4 people and injured 40. In the morning, the enemy attacked Dnipro with ballistic missiles. At the moment of the explosion, Yulia was at home with her daughter.
The entire window frame came off, all the windows were blown out. Right now it's chaos because we have to process all the paperwork, pack our things, move to my parents' place and figure out what to do next. I'm at the stage where I just have to do something.
Russian forces struck one of the largest residential districts of the regional center with ballistic missiles. There is significant destruction. Many apartment buildings, an administrative building, a charity organization's warehouse, and non-residential premises were damaged. The powerful blast wave also damaged the sports complex. Fortunately, no one was here at the time of the strike.
There's nothing left, nothing at all. The door has been blown out. We have to hold on, help a friend as best we can.
Fires broke out at the site of the attack. Rescuers quickly extinguished them. A relief center was set up nearby. More than 200 windows were shattered in several apartment buildings.
The ceiling crumbled a bit, so I went to the right. I was sitting here in a cafe nearby when it exploded. It was really loud. The windows rattled.
Most of the injured are in hospitals, according to the regional administration. 11 are in serious condition. Right now they are in surgery.
They're stitching wounds, they've already done some operations, people are alive.
It was only by a miracle that none of the employees at the service station, which was at the epicenter of the explosion, were injured, the owner says. There were almost 20 people at the service center.
The cars are damaged. We have a 5-story building, so the roof is still there, but it hit the roof of the building itself. The walls are damaged. It seems like this is the 3rd or 4th time we've had to repair the facade. This time feels like the final one, it seems. So it seems the building will no longer be suitable for restoration.
The aftermath of the attack was dealt with within a few hours, and heavy special equipment was brought in.
I'm simply addressing all the residents of the city. When you hear an explosion and there is an air raid alert, if possible, please avoid driving around the city. Ambulances, state emergency service vehicles. The official vehicles that were heading here couldn't get through.
The rescue and search operations have been completed. Tomorrow has been declared a day of mourning in Dnipro. Christina Vengelius, Kaite Denis, Sinigin. Fakten and United News.
The number of people injured in this morning's Russian shelling of Chornobaivka in the Kherson region has risen to 6, according to the regional military administration. At around 6 in the morning, the Russians launched a massive attack on the village using artillery and multiple rocket launchers. About 50 private houses were destroyed, as well as at least 2 apartment buildings, power lines, a gas pipeline, and outbuildings. At 9 a.m., a drone in the Dnipro district of Kherson injured 4 elderly people. And around 11 a.m., near the village of Rakivka in the Berislav community, the Russians attacked a civilian car with a drone. A 61-year-old man suffered a concussion, explosive and closed head injuries, a foot amputation, and shrapnel wounds to his leg. In the morning, the Russians attacked Mykolaiv with Shahed drones. One of the drones crashed onto the roof of a 9-story building and caught fire. The roof of the building was burned out, but fortunately no one was injured, saying more than 200 residents were evacuated from the building. Luisa Yeromina will continue.
We are leaving our home. The Shahed's warhead is lying on the roof of the house.
After an enemy Shahed struck the roof of the apartment building, all residents were urgently evacuated, as well as those in the 2 neighboring 9-story buildings.
We didn't understand what it was. We were evacuated. Thank you. My mother is 90 years old. Everything is fine.
Enemy drones attacked Mykolaiv early in the morning. One of the Shaheds fell onto the roof of a 9-story building. A fire broke out. At first, the residents themselves rushed to put out the flames.
I saw smoke pouring out the window, and my neighbor and I got started. We tried to open the door to the roof. Luckily, in apartment 144, the neighbor had a supply of water. These days, you have to have a water supply. The guys from the patrol police, who were the first to arrive, helped a lot.
The firefighters quickly put out the fire. The roof of the building was burned out, all because of the debris from the Russian drone. More than 200 people had to urgently leave their homes while pyrotechnic teams from the State Emergency Service worked on the roof.
Thanks to the efforts of the Rapid Response Volunteer Unit, evacuation was carried out, as well as the transportation of people with limited mobility from the buildings. Patients.
We're taking your grandfather with us.
Elderly residents from the upper floors were carried down on stretchers by volunteers from the Ukrainian Red Cross Rapid Response Unit.
At this time, the warhead has been removed from the roof, and now the investigative team is working on site.
Residents of the apartment buildings have already returned to their homes. As soon as they recover from the shelling, they will start repairing the roof damaged by the enemy. Louise Arena, Taras Vovchenko, Daniil Slish, Fakti STB, United News.
The president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, is in Paris today. He was received at the Élysée Palace by his French counterpart, Emmanuel Macron. The negotiations were held face-to-face. According to the French authorities, the main topics were the situation and the conditions for a just and lasting peace as a continuation of the talks in Geneva, of the American plan, and in close coordination with European partners. They also discussed security guarantees for Ukraine within the coalition of willing countries. Volodymyr Zelenskyy reported on social media about his several-hour conversation with Macron. They focused most of their attention on negotiations to end the war and on security guarantees. Zelenskyy, Macron, and also the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who was in contact with them, spoke with participants of the meeting in Florida from both the Ukrainian and American sides. Rustem Umerov and Steve Witkoff. They agreed to discuss the details in person, and the teams will coordinate schedules for possible further contacts. Then there was a joint phone call with the leaders of Ukraine's European partner countries and EU officials.
These are special days now when a lot can change, truly a lot can change, every single day. Yesterday there were negotiations by the Ukrainian delegation in America, and tomorrow, as we all know, the president's representative of the United States will be in Russia. We are making every effort to end this war. And it must be ended with dignity. And if now everyone works not just actively but honestly for the sake of peace and for guaranteed security, then we can achieve exactly what Ukraine needs.
Everyone desires peace. Peace is the central goal of the recent meetings. But when we talk about peace, everyone must have their own role. Russia must stop its aggression, and as for the territories, only Ukrainians can negotiate about them because it is their land. Discussions about security guarantees are only possible with Ukraine's participation. Frozen Russian assets are under the jurisdiction of the EU.
Tomorrow, Volodymyr Zelenskyy will make his first official visit to Ireland. The agenda includes meetings with Irish Prime Minister Micheál Martin and President Catherine Connolly. A speech before the local parliament and participation in the opening ceremony of the Irish-Ukrainian Economic Forum are also planned. Today in Brussels, the foreign and defense ministers of EU countries are discussing support for Ukraine in military and financial spheres. NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte and the head of Ukraine's defense ministry, Denis Shmyhal, are participating in the meeting. One of the topics is a training mission for Ukrainian soldiers considered in two versions. One for the current situation and another in case a ceasefire can be achieved. They are also discussing the next payment to Ukraine from the profits of frozen Russian assets. Swedish Defense Minister Paul Jonsson called for providing Ukraine with a reparations loan using the principle of these assets and added, Ukrainians themselves should decide how to use the money. Dutch Defense Minister Ruben Brekelmans announced that his country will provide Kyiv with an additional €250 million for the purchase of American weapons. The meeting participants also exchanged views on the progress and prospects of peace negotiations initiated by the United States.
This could be a decisive week for diplomacy. Yesterday, we heard that the negotiations in America were difficult but productive. We don't know the results yet, but today I will speak with the Minister of Defense of Ukraine as well as with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine. Well, the Ukrainians are there on their own. If they were together with the Europeans, they would definitely be much stronger. But I believe that the Ukrainians will stand up for themselves. In
Odessa, in memory of the women who died from violence, candles were lit and white roses, which are a symbol of these victims, were brought. Romanian activists and volunteers joined the nationwide campaign 16 Days Against Violence. The participants of the event are trying to draw attention to the problem of domestic violence and to counteract it. Residents of Odessa urge victims not to be afraid to ask for help.
When a person who is currently living in a situation that prevents them from living a quality life sees that this is happening not only to them, but also to parents and other people, yet there is still an opportunity for the person to realize that this is not a closed circle, that there is a way out, that they can get help.